doing and says actually NATO is effectively fighting us anyway, and so suddenly you trigger a much wider escalation with Russia justifying NATO's actions to support Ukraine to attack NATO directly. And were that to happen, you're in a whole different world where you have NATO and Russia militarily fighting each other. And so the line so far that NATO allies individually, there's no NATO effort on the ground here in Ukraine, has been to supply weapons, anti-tank weapons, surface-to-air missiles, ammunition, things like that. But of course, the Ukrainians have been asking for a no-fly zone over here. They want NATO jets in their skies, keeping Russian planes and missiles out of them. And NATO have said no to that. But it seems as though a step down from that is to give the Ukrainians their own warplanes or more warplanes to be able to maintain a no-fly zone effectively themselves, or at least to better protect their skies. And yes, Poland is a country that flies the same fighter jets as the Ukrainian Air Force, and so therefore their planes could easily be then flown by Ukrainian pilots. But the interesting thing will be whether Russia also accepts that distinction, that it's Ukrainian pilots still fighting, not the fact that it's Polish jets that they are flying to fight. If it doesn't accept that distinction, if it views Poland's actions, if that happens, as an escalation and decides to attack Poland directly, then you are again into that whole new world of NATO-Russia direct confrontation, because Poland is a NATO member state. So therefore, so it's a long-winded answer, but yes, it is interesting and significant that the UK supports that idea, because Ben Wallace will be all too well aware of what it means if Poland were to be drawn into the conflict directly and then attacked as a result of that by Russia.
We're going to bring you some breaking news from Ukraine, and the President Zelensky says a child has died from dehydration in the besieged city of Mariupol. The Ukrainian President says that the child died from dehydration in the besieged city and likened it to World War II. Apparently in this address, he said that the bombardment of Ukrainian cities is very similar to that created by the Nazi invasion in World War II. Of course, we know that the water supply, water, power, heating supplies have been cut off for days. And he said in 2022, from dehydration in his address. So that's the very latest coming into us. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has confirmed that a child has died in Mariupol, a city whose water has been cut off. And we can't independently verify that, but that is what the president is saying in an address. Now, the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights has called for all parties in the Ukrainian conflict to enable civilians to safely leave affected areas. Michelle Bachelet also said there are reports of pro-Ukrainian activists being detained in eastern Ukraine. Sky's Laura Bundock is in Brussels for us. Laura, tell us from Brussels, what are you hearing there?
There's a lot of talk about energy today here in Europe, particularly given the starting point, the fact that the European Union relies heavily on Russian energy, relies heavily on oil and gas. I think there's agreement that they need to reduce this reliance on Russian energy, but there is disagreement about what they should do next. There is this strange situation where you have the European Union agreeing this large set of sanctions designed to hit Putin's coffers hard to damage the Russian economy, and yet at the same time you have European countries every day spending millions of euros on Russian gas and oil. And I think a lot of countries in Europe now feel very uncomfortable with being such a close customer of the Kremlin. So talk now about whether or not there could be a ban on the imports of Russian gas and oil. There is, though, as I say, disagreement and debate about this, particularly the countries which rely most heavily on it, the likes of Germany, for example, where the German Chancellor has made it very clear that there simply isn't an alternative at the moment that would be a viable alternative. So there is going to be debate around this, whether or not to look at a possible import ban, how to reduce the reliance on Russian energy, and then how to increase the use of renewables here in Europe. any ban would come at a huge cost to consumers, and energy prices here in Europe are already really high. But there are lots who now believe that it would be a cost people should be prepared to pay, because it is in effect the price of freedom and the price of democracy in Ukraine.
Laura, thanks very much indeed for keeping us up to date with what's happening in Brussels. Well, let's stay with the price of oil, and it's now reached a 14-year high, and Russia has warned it could cut gas supplies to Europe. Now, some leaders are suggesting the West should ban the import of Russian oil and gas. Sky's Paul Kelso has been looking at how the impact of that might be felt in the UK and the rest of Europe.
The invasion of Ukraine has sent energy prices soaring, with huge implications for the global economy and household budgets. But has the time come to take the ultimate sanction and ban Russian oil? That was a suggestion from US Secretary of State Antony Blinken at the weekend. And just look what it did to the oil price. Already rising since the invasion on February the 24th, it exceeded $139 a barrel at one point before falling back. And prices for next day delivery of natural gas passed 600 pence a therm. That's almost double previous records that have driven up domestic fuel bills. And these price spikes came from just talking about an energy boycott. And while the West talks, Russia profits. It's the world's third largest oil producer behind the US and Saudi Arabia, turning out around 11 million barrels a day. That's more than 10% of global production. But it's the world's largest exporter. It sells more than anyone else abroad. And this is where it goes. Germany takes 30% of its oil from Russia. France and Italy and the UK more than 10%. South Korea, the US and Japan are also customers. All major economies fueled by Russian oil. And Europe is even more reliant on Russian gas. So you can see the countries at the top of this chart in the east of Europe get almost all of their supplies from Russia. But Germany and Italy take almost half. France, nearly a quarter, though the UK imports just 4%. So the taps can't just be turned off. The global economy would have to be weaned off Russian oil with alternative sources found. But that might mean conversations with suppliers like Iran or Venezuela, themselves sanctioned, which explains why European leaders are more cautious about a boycott.
If we now would force European companies to quit doing business with Russia, that would have enormous ramifications around Europe, including Ukraine, but also around the world. So we have to dramatically reduce our dependency on gas and oil from Russia. That will take time.
An oil ban would certainly hurt the Russian economy, but every weapon in this economic war comes at a price, and families and consumers across Europe could pay it.
OK, well, the latest data has been released to show the average price for fuel in the UK. Yesterday, the average petrol price was 156.37, 156.37 per litre, that is, and the average diesel per litre was 162.28. Let's bring in Sky's business presenter, Ian King, who joins me now. Ian, I mean, this is going up and up and up, seemingly out of control, a 14-year high. What does it mean for all of us?
Well, you are going to be seeing higher costs right across the piece, whether that is in energy-related products or indeed food and drink, because obviously oil is used in practically every aspect of getting food and drink to consumer shelves, whether that's in packaging, transportation, keeping food fresh in some cases. All of that requires oil or oil products. And speaking of food, I should mention that wheat prices continue to rise. Currently, a bushel of wheat is trading at $11.91 a bushel. That is an elevated level. That is roughly equivalent to £60 of wheat, enough to make 91 loaves of wholemeal bread. So you're going to be seeing cost increases coming in there. You're seeing it in industrial metals prices. The price of aluminium and copper both hit all-time highs on the London Metal Exchange yesterday. The nickel trading in the LME has been suspended today after the price went above $100,000 a tonne for the first time. To put that into context, it's something like 5 times the level at which nickel was trading at the beginning of the year. And this is an industrial metal with lots and lots of applications, like copper, used a lot in the building trade, in manufacturing, particularly in the case of nickel in car making, because it's used in electric car batteries. So you're going to be seeing costs rising rising across the piece. There is really no way out of it. There is inflation coming right across the board, and this is going to be a global issue. In the United States, the price of gasoline there, petrol there, has just gone above $4 a gallon for the first time since 2008. Interesting, though, that the United States is pushing harder on this ban on Russian oil and gas than some of the European countries. The feeling really is that the US is much less dependent on Russian imports, and therefore it can go ahead with this measure without incurring too much damage to its own economy. But it's in Asia as well. The effects will be felt there. Countries like Japan and South Korea are very, very heavily dependent on Russian oil and gas exports. And interestingly, South Korea, one of the world's biggest economies, the 11th biggest economy, in fact, roughly comparable to Russia in many ways. Well, it's just announced it's joining in the sanctions on Russian lenders as well. So countries in that part of the world playing their part to put pressure on Putin's regime as well. I should mention, by the way, what is going on in some of the other markets this morning. You've seen a slight rally in European equities in the last hour and a half or so. We had a big sell-off on Wall Street yesterday, sell-off in Asia Pacific overnight. I can tell you that the ruble, by the way, has also staged a modest recovery. Now, the ruble's been absolutely slammed on foreign exchange markets in recent days. Ruble currently trading at 128 to the US dollar. Before Putin's invasion, it was trading at around 75 to the dollar. So you've seen a real fall-off in the ruble, but it's found a level in recent days. The Russian stock markets remain suspended for trading, by the way. Incidentally, the Russian government's borrowing costs, as implied by bond yields, well, they're currently north of 12% on the 10-year Russian bond. The question is whether anyone is going to be wanting to take payments from the Russian government, because Vladimir Putin has said bond payments will be made in rubles in the near future rather than being dollar denominated. There's a bit of a difference there between what some Russian companies are doing. Gazprom, for example, made a $1 billion plus bond repayment yesterday, and it paid in dollars, not in rubles.
Ian, thank you for that. Okay, we've got some new video for you. We are going to hear from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who's made this online address just a short time ago.
Dear Ukrainians, men and women, on this date we usually congratulate our women, our mothers on Women's Day, Spring Day, usually, but not today. Today, I just can't say any traditional words congratulating you. I just can't do it when we have so many deaths, so much grief and sufferings, when we have an ongoing war, full-scale war, terrorist war against our people of Ukraine. The occupiers bombed Sumy again with aviation, with air bombs. Sumy never ever threatened Russia. Now they're turning it into hell. There is no evil intention in Mariupol. They surrounded it. They cut off connection, deliberately cut off water supply, food supply, cut off electricity. And probably since the Second World War, it's the first time, the first case when a child died because of dehydration. Listen to me carefully. In 2022, a child died from dehydration. We are fighting for 13 days now. Hundreds of cruise missiles, planes, helicopters are attacking us. Yes, we are destroying them. But they are attacking us, although over the last 13 days they lost a lot of their planes. However, they have enough missiles for carrying out terror actions. They have enough bombs to drop them on our towns: Kyiv, Chernihiv, Odessa, Kharkiv, Poltava, Zhytomyr. And our peaceful people. For 13 days we only hear promises. For 13 days they keep saying to us, you'll get some assistance in the air, you will get the planes, we will get them to you. Because of airstrikes from Russian territory, people die, and this is the responsibility of Russia, of Russian soldiers, of those who deliberately destroy Ukrainian people. This is the responsibility of the occupier, but also the responsibility lies on those who cannot make a decision for 13 days now somewhere in the West. Those who didn't provide security to our airspace. Those who didn't make these important decisions about no-fly zone and who can do it. And it's important to provide us with anti-air defense for Ukraine. We heard a lot of promises, in particular about humanitarian corridors for our people in Mariupol, but all those humanitarian corridor arrangements did not work. We don't have any more time to wait. People in Mariupol have no time to wait. The occupiers want us to die. We don't want our people to die. We provided humanitarian supply to our people in Mariupol, but Russian troops can just shoot at people. Everyone understands it, that they already have killed so many people when people were trying to come into these humanitarian corridors. But when they shoot at people, when they're trying to go through these green corridors, everybody will see it. Everybody will be able to see what they're doing. And those responsible for these actions will be prosecuted. We tried to arrange these humanitarian corridors, not just for our people, not just for Ukrainians. We also tried to arrange them for foreign students who study in Ukraine. And what they did, they even did not allow the Red Cross to make sure that these humanitarian corridors are safe. You can see that these people just, they want to give up on Ukraine, but I'm not going to let it happen. I will keep calling on people of the world. If the leaders of the countries are not making the right decisions, I will keep calling on people of those countries. I will speak to the parliamentarians of the leading countries in the world. I spoke to the government of Lithuania. I'm grateful to their support. I spoke to Charles Michel from European Council, but certain things can't be decided during the negotiations. They can only be decided on the basis of humanity. When fear has to be overcome, and then we will see that the Ukrainian sky is safe, that the Ukrainian towns and cities are not surrounded anymore, and that we can do it all together as humans. But if the world stays aside, they will just lose themselves, because all the moral values are the same for everyone. And everyone deserves to have the right to live, and we are fighting for this right. And not they trying to take this right away from us. Glory to Ukraine.
Well, that was Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky there with his latest video posted online, making an unprecedented address to the UK Parliament later this afternoon. And this morning, the Prime Minister is hosting leaders of the Czech Republic.
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe.
Author of How to Go from Employee to Entrepreneur, and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Join Prophet Ajman. 11th March through to Sunday 13th. Details are as follows: Friday 11th March 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday 12th of March 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Sunday 13th of March 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Come and experience the prophetic like never before and hear the word of the Lord for your life. Please call 077-60-276-394 or visit www.prophetprempeh.org.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes!
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match, people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. The whole of darkness.
So what did that
Myself and the world will adjust. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on the CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
To show them you got the Coco set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. We don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. We're here. We they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
UK. Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Smile though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile. If you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you're listening to Starr Radio UK and the Morning Show. Good morning and welcome to Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Today is the 8th day of the 3rd month of the year 2022. That is the 8th day of March 2022. A time that we've not experienced ever in our lives. You know that is happening from across the globe, from Ukraine. And the cost of living that seems to be spiraling out of control. And the fact that yesterday, you know, whilst we were doing the program yesterday, I was putting Yomi to lots of questions pertaining to Chief Sunday Igboho. And the fact that I was pushing that maybe they will be released. And lo and behold, in the evening, I had information coming through that he's been released. And we are like, what? Well, anything is possible. And that's why you don't have to throw in the towel. If you believe in something, continue to hold on to it. And I tell you, one way or the other, things will fall in place when the time comes. And you will reap the rewards or the results of your holding on to that faith or that belief. So on that note, let me say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. Those of you on other planets as well, we salute you all and we welcome you to the Tuesday edition of the morning show. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
It's the morning show with Archie.
But let me say good morning to my colleagues, Mr. Olayomi, Kojo D, and Frank. Felix all the way in Aberdeen, massive good morning to you. Mr. Kofi Ali Abdul Yakin, massive good morning to you as well. To my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy, I salute you, sir. And a special good morning to Mrs. BB Clement. I hope you are doing very well. She'll be coming your way this afternoon with the BB Means Business show exactly at 1:30. To our listeners in the UK, those of you in the US, those of you in the North and South of America, those of you in Europe, those of you in Asia, those of you in Australia, those of you on the African continent, Especially those of you in Nigeria, Ghana, Uganda, South Africa, Kenya. Oh, all our listeners there, I salute you all and I welcome you to today's program. Well, together we're going to make big waves. So go a step further by sharing the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and inviting them to like our pages as well. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Playing in the background, something from Eli J. Hallowed be the name of the Lord.
Put your hands together, come on.
Okay, no. If it's the first time I've tuned in to listen to us on a Tuesday, yes, this is how the program goes. I'm going to bring you the quote for the day. The weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as Global Trotting. From archaeology to zoology, from Accra to Zanzibar. As I say all the time, if it's making the headlines, why not? We're going to be touching on it.
We'll take that one more time.
Okay. Then at 11 o'clock exactly, we'll be having Mr. Olayomi bringing us updates from Nigeria. I tell you, I got lots of questions to pose to him, you know. And then he has also got lots to tell you as well. But then, after that discussions, at 12 o'clock, the lines will be open for you to add your voice to the discussions. But before then, if you have any comments that you want to make us, you know, those of you who normally do so, go to our Facebook page and just put your comments there. Or on our YouTube channel, you can put your comments there as well. And I promise you, I'm going to read that. Then the discussion will continue until 1 o'clock when the curtains are brought down for the end of the program. And as I announced this afternoon, BB Clement is going to be coming your way exactly at 1:30. All roads will be prepared for her. And I'll be telling you what she'll be discussing this afternoon. So, welcome to the program once again. Well, the quote for today says, hard work is not just about exerting physical energy. It is about working smart with the right tools and being consistent. Hard work is not just about exerting physical energy. It is about working smart with the right tools and being consistent. Do you think you're experiencing that? If you're not, have a rethink. But it's all coming your way, Starr Radio UK.
Come on. Put your hands together. We worship you, Lord.
Now moving on straight to the weather front to tell you a bit of what is happening here in the UK and other parts of the UK as well.
Open hands, we say, put your hands to him.
Well, today we will start mostly dry with sunshine for many, but cloud will gradually build from the west, cloudy in the afternoon in the west with spells of rain, but staying dry and bright elsewhere. It's going to be windy as well. This evening a cloud will reach eastern areas, but the rain will mainly affect Scotland. Tonight, it will become clearer and drier before another band of rain edges in from west towards dawn. But when it comes to London and the southeastern of England, this is how the weather is going to be for you. We will see a chilly and a bright start to the day. It will remain sunny for much of the day, but it will begin to cloud over from the west into the evening. And this evening we'll continue to see clouds move in from the west, and it will be cloudy with the clear spells overnight. It will be generally dry, but the odd shower cannot be ruled out. A breezy night expected as well. The top temperature 11 degrees, otherwise it's going to be 6 degrees, a bit warmer than it was yesterday. UV level is going to be low, pollution is going to be low. Sunset 17:52. Sunrise for tomorrow morning 06:31 hours. Okay, that's by way of the program, the weather forecast for you.
Lift up your voices and say, Jesus, Jesus.
Okay, let's take a quick commercial break and then I'll bring you the travel update. Don't you worry. Hallowed be the name by Eli J. I'll be bringing it before we have Mr. Olayomi on. Stay tuned.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
well. Keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads. I'll keep it navigated. I promise I'm on the Starr Radio Travel Update. I cancel every weekday from 10:40. It's now 10:46. Okay, so let's see your travel this morning. Well, those of you who are using the underground this morning, the second line has got minor delays anti-clockwise due to an earlier faulty train. Good service on clockwise. And the district line as well. Severe delays between Ealing Broadway and Elscourt, and minor delays between Elscourt and Barking due to an earlier faulty train. Tickets are being accepted on London buses and C2C. Good service on the rest of the line. The other side, as you know, London line has got pipe closures, which will be out of it, or will be sorted by mid-May. The other side, all the others have got good service. Now, London Overground, TFL Rail, DL, and London Tramlink, good service there as well. But keep your eyes on the roads. Keep your eyes on the roads as we keep you navigated. Well, on the riverbank this morning, today there is some service on the Woolwich ferry as well, but it's a reduced service. That aside, all the others, good service. Let's move on straight to the National Rail. On the National Rail this morning, Avanti West Coast has got minor delays. Gatwick Express special service, Great Northern special service, Great Western Railway special service, and Great Anglia special service there as well. But keep your eyes on the roads, keep your eyes on the roads, and we keep you navigated. Our promise, our bond. And moving on to the final segment of the travel update, that's the major routes in London. Yes. A10 has got closures, A316 closures, A4 closures, Central London Red Routes closures, A21 serious delays, A41 serious delays, and South Circular A205 serious delays as well. So as I will say all the time, well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you, wherever you might be on planet Earth. Enjoy your commute for today. But you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Check me out. He tells me my energy is making him tired.
Yes.
How do you get the energy to do
I've been told that I have a lot of energy, but my goodness, I think today I have met my match people. I have met my match, Miss Suzanne. Wow, amazing.
One of the things that's the start of the darkness. The whole of darkness.
So what did that
myself and the world in adjustment. And 2019.
Forget the proverbial boardroom. Join me, Simone Frazier, on the CEO, the program that gives you the driving seat over your life. Every Tuesday, 8 p.m. only on Starr Radio.
Welcome back to the program Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. It's now time for Global Trotting.
Oh Lord, no one who is to come.
Okay, so from the Nigerian front, the simmering leadership crisis rocking the All Progressive Congress for several months took a different dimension on Monday in Abuja, as most of the governors were said to have abandoned the chairman. Well, this and a lot more going to be coming your way. I remember we touching on that yesterday. And top of the story, yes, Chief Sunday Igboho has been released. What is the next move, and what does that say for those who are advocating for a breakaway from Nigeria?
Look at me, the one you say.
There's a lot more we're going to be looking at in the next few moments when we have Miss Olayomi on.
Lift up your voices and say, Jesus, Jesus.
Right from the UK front.
You will never fail. Just the same. Yesterday, today. Take a look at me, the one you say.
UK can and will do more for refugees. Ministers said the UK needs to speed up the processing of visas for refugees from Ukraine, says the Defense Secretary. And Zelensky is to address UK MPs in Commons. The Ukrainian president will speak via video link to British politicians on Tuesday. But this morning, a video that he has posted was going viral. I mean, listen to what he is saying, and you ask yourself, all the delays, if you're going to help him to fight whatever, somebody will say, because you've incited him, why don't you help him now? Why are you delaying? Well, we'll be looking into that story as well. And one in UK faces biggest income squeeze in 50 years. The one in Ukraine will lead to an even tighter squeeze on living standard this spring, a think tank is saying. How true is that? Well, wherever you are, you find out that your bills, some of the bills that I received sometime last week, they sent an email. I looked at it, I'm like, whoops, gone more than 100% plus. Wow, which they were saying that it's going to be about 51%, Now, rescue of Bob set to cost taxpayers billions more. The buyer hasn't been found for the alien supplier, so the taxpayer will have to keep funding it. Oh my, oh my, oh my. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, moving on to some other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. As you know, evacuation has begun from two besieged areas of Ukraine. People flee Sumy in the northeast and Irpin near Kiev as the number of refugees leaving Ukraine reaches 2 million. Transplant success for baby Houston. Now, doctors hope the pioneering procedure, believed to be a world first, marks a new chapter for transplant surgery. We'll be looking into those stories. I mean, while things are going on, other things are going on as well. A trial is due to begin in U.S. governor kidnapping plot. The four are accused of trying to kidnap Democrat Christian Whitmer due to her COVID rules. And the McDonald's and Coca-Cola also boycott calls grow. Food and drink giants have been criticized on social media for failing to speak out on Ukraine's invasion.
Jesus.
That's not coming your way from Starr Radio UK.
Put your hands together, come on.
The West fights against Putin, the disruptor. Now, several U.S. presidents have failed to get the measure of him, but now Europe has joined the fray. Things may change. You sure things may change? Well, those are some stories making the rounds there.
Hands together. We worship you, Lord Jesus.
Thousands of women in El Salvador march for rights. As today, we celebrate the Women's International Women's Day. Now, do you think that measures that have been put in place so far, I mean, gives women equal opportunity?
Whatever comes.
Even here, where we have the Queen as the head of the country, we still see somebody say susu pawning going on. But one more, do you you think we can do for our lady folks or our women folks to bring them at par, or at some measure of they thinking that they are equal to us or equal with us, as some might say? What more can we do? I don't know religiosity. I don't know what will happen on that front though. Right, it's all Starr Radio UK. Sydney floods force thousands to evacuate as well. So there's so much trouble in this world. And street preachers and their loudspeakers. Some want evangelists to make less noise when trying to convert people in Uganda's capital, Kampala.
Lift up your voices and say, Jesus, Jesus.
Okay, a lot more going to be coming your way from Ghana. Subsidizing fuel for industries not economically wise, Kwabena Donko is saying. So what do you think government can do to reduce the pain, the pinch, where the final recipient of whatever goods and products is the one who's going to be facing whatever tightness or difficulty that is going on across the globe? I was advised against criticizing MPP government because they are vindictive. Whoa, how true is that? Was yesterday meant to have said that, hey, you know what? The economy is not that bad at all. But information coming through is saying that, well, he was advised against criticizing them. So he decided to praise them. Okay, dokie, do. Well, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, this and a lot more going to be coming your way. Stay tuned, don't you go away. Enjoy the rest of that song. We'll be having Mr. Olayomi joining us in the next few moments.
My yesterdays and today. Take a look at us, the one you say. Hallowed be your name. With a grateful heart, come on, sing it out. Jesus, 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 oh, Jesus, Jesus, oh, my. Yesterday, today. Oh, take a look at me, the one you say. Oh, we worship your name, Jesus. Hallowed be your name. Don't stop thanking him. Don't stop praising him. Jesus, oh, Jesus, you will never fail. You are just the same. So beautiful you are. Yesterday, today. Ah, take a look at me. Take a look at the one you say. Jesus, you are just the same. My yesterdays, yesterday, today. Lord, take a look at me, look at Ellie J. Oh, Lord, hallowed be. One more time. Oh, my beautiful Jesus, come on. Jesus, Jesus, you never fail. You have never failed, Lord. Take a look at me, the one you say, the one you say, hallowed be your name. My Jesus, my Jesus.
This is Starr Radio UK.
You are just the same. My yesterdays and today. Take a look at them, look at us, what you say. Hallowed be your name.
Okay, so that is something from Elijah saying, hallowed be the name of the Most High God, giving thanks and praise to God for all that he has done for us. And if there is nothing that I can be grateful of, I am grateful that you are alive, you are well kicking, and you are here to listen to us, watch us wherever you are. Those of you who listen to us on the African continent, I know it costs you an arm and a leg, but you continue to follow us. We are so grateful to you. We are so grateful to you, because without you, we will not be here. Okay, but at this juncture, well, I said yesterday night when I had that good news, when Yomi called me, I was like, wow, I think Yomi, now you have to know that I'm a prophet. So if you need anything, you need to come to me. I need to. Good morning, Yomi.
Well, it is sunshine. Good morning to you, Mr. Archie. 1 minute past 11 a.m. It's exactly the 8th day of March 2022. And it is always the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And I welcome you again to all our listeners from around the globe. And as we continue to say, when we are live, we have a lot to be grateful. And we're back again this morning with quite a lot of news. But let's come back slightly again to you in the studio.
Yes. How are you doing, sir?
Well, I think it's been a very long night that I'm sure we could all expect, especially with the magnitude of the information that was coming out from Benin Republic yesterday, that we had to manage, and also, like you did ask, how am I doing? A bit of short sleep, but we're still here, doing what we love to do, on Starr Radio UK, making sure that our listeners from around the globe in Kenya, Uganda, South Africa, Egypt, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, can be rest assured that this is the platform that can kick you to go on every news in the continent and outside the continent of Africa.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki for you. Now, interestingly, how our discussions went yesterday, we were looking at the fact that is there a chance that Chief Sunday can be released, and they were talking about Nnamdi Kanu, both of them. And then, boom, in the evening, then we have such a news coming in. Interesting.
Well, I mean, it was, just under 5 to 10 hours after we spoke, at 11 o'clock. And I remember, reaching out to you just before, in the evening, to give you the good news that Chief Sunday Igboho, has been released from the custody of Benin Republic. Yes, I remember you did ask that Buhari is currently in London on a medical leave for 2 weeks. He has handed over to the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. And I remember the question you did ask is, could there be anything that could happen or change now that Buhari is not in Nigeria, is currently here on a medical leave, and Osinbajo can kind of put a twist around the Igboho and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu held in Nigeria? And what I did said was, as much as I would have loved to see a very good answer to that, but I saw that APC is still one. Whether Buhari is out of the country or not, we do know that Yemi Osinbajo is a Yoruba man, but if he wanted to have done something, he could have done it for a very long time while Igboho has been held in Benin Republic and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But yes, we can be grateful to those that will be given names later on when we go into details of the release of the news from the statement, and likewise the excitement to all the millions of Yorubas from around the world yesterday.
Well, listeners, when I was greeted with that news yesterday evening, I remember we were watching telly, we were watching the news, and then I just rushed out, and then I just came back to my wife. I said, "Ha!" So the way I was celebrating, she was thinking something. I said, "Yes, I'm happy because we just discussed this thing this morning." And lo and behold, now can you talk? Give listeners, those who were not able to join you on the broadcast that you did that time. How the whole thing came about, where his whereabouts is. I mean, well, we know that we might not be able to divert everything, but a bit of background to that. I've got a picture that you sent me, which I'm going to be posting there. Is it a current picture of when he was released?
Yes, Chief Sunday Igboho, if we go back to how and when and all this started in terms of, a man that was, almost killed, in his home on the 1st of July. So what I can confirm is that, yesterday, even though some of us have that inside information, but it was not information that had to go into the public domain, that there was a lot of work being put underneath by not just one person, but with so many individuals that were working. So let me first read the statement that came out from the leader of the Ilana Omodua, Professor Banji Akintoye, through their press statement yesterday. Yoruba Nation activist Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho released to Yoruba leader Professor Banji Akintoye and the French language expert Professor Adeniran by the Benin Republic government Monday, 7th of March 2022. The Yoruba Nation activist Chief Sunday Adeyemo, fondly called Sunday Igboho, has been released by the government of Republic of Benin. The activist was released on Monday to the Yoruba leader and the leader of the umbrella body of the Yoruba self-determination groups, Ilana Omo Oodua Worldwide, Professor Banji Akintoye, and his deputy, a French language expert, Ilana Omo Oodua, Professor Wole Adeniran. This statement by the Communication Secretary of Ilana Omo Oodua Worldwide, Mr. Maxwell Adeleye Akintoye, described the release of Igboho as a triumph of truth over darkness in the Yoruba land. I'm going to come back again to you in the studio, but we also have to be very grateful to so many people that were also working behind the scene. We will be grateful also, according to a statement that we released as the spokesman also on behalf of Chief Sunday Igboho. He did say, and I quote, that we should be grateful to the Benin government for giving the opportunity for not denying, justice to somebody that has been held, for a very long time in Benin Republic. Also, we have to be grateful to Professor Wole Soyinka. A lot of people might be shocked, but we are not too shocked because we knew that he has spoken so many times on the issue of Chief Sunday Igboho, as saying that, most of the allegations against him are bulls and cocks, according to his word. Also, we're grateful to the lawyer, this Ibrahim Salami, that also work, and so many individuals that work quietly. Some do not even want their name mentioned in the public domain. What is the details of the release is what a lot of people are asking. We cannot go into so much of the details, but what we can say is currently he's in a secure place, not in the custody anymore, but the struggle to get him a better health care and medical treatment is still being looked into so that it can be taken out of Benin Republic as quickly as possible. But for now, he's still in Benin Republic, which we can confirm that, but in a very secure location. And we are also saying, once again, we continue to give the update of what we can give, because a lot of people really want to know so much, and so much has been discussed. Congratulations messages have come from far and wide, as far as China, Melbourne, Australia, New Zealand, Benin Republic, Togo, Sierra Leone. Yesterday sounded like a victory to the Yoruba people, and likewise we also get congratulatory messages from the Biafran brothers and sisters that are also looking forward to the day Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be released, at least back to his own home rather than in the hands of the DSS. I'll come back again to you in the studio.
Yes, listeners, some good news there, but let me acknowledge a couple of people before I ask you some further questions on that. Dairo Dangogode Benga, he says, well done. Amayo Ajerigine, good morning to you, Yoruba Nation, no going back. Anthony Adedeji, thumbs up to you as well, and thank you very much. Continue to share the broadcast with your friends and lovers wherever you are. Now that he's been released, is it that he's been bailed, or the case has been quashed, so he's been released, he's free to go wherever he wants to go?
Well, like I said, there's a little we can give in terms of the situation, right now. But currently, it was held, in what we can call a kind of a custody, where he has been put in for the last 7 months. But that is not the situation anymore. He has been released into the hand of the Alano, who the leader of the Yoruba movement, Professor Banji Akintoye. Remember, he said, and I quote, "I will not leave anything unturned," and that is the reason why he relocated to Benin Republic to stand firm, so that Benin Republic can have a very clear reason why somebody that has been pointed as a criminal is not a criminal. So what we can confirm is he has been released in his hands, but again, some of those details, it's not something that we can give too much. But what we can say is, yes, he has a freedom now where people can have, maybe a visit to him, but that will be something that will be reviewed as we go along as well. But we are not just sitting behind. We are still saying that it would definitely need to go for a good medical checkup outside the country, that I'm sure the legal team and the team on the ground in Ilana Omo Oodua are working tirelessly so that it can get those clarity, and then it can be flew out of the Benin Republic as quickly as possible for a medical treatment.
Okay. Now, we'll be coming to the reaction from the federal government, if any. But Amayo says that Chief Obafemi Awolowo, RIP, and Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho are infallible and indefectible leaders of the Yoruba nation. Okay. Let your reactions come through. Let your messages, whichever you have, congratulatory messages, whatever you want to say, feel free. You can put it on our Facebook page, and I promise you, I'm going to read that. Okay. Now, what has been the reaction of the federal government so far?
Well, there hasn't been any statement. I've been able to follow that, to see if the government will release any kind of statement. We do know that, the federal government, was the one that put out the name of Chief Sunday Igboho, into what we can call a system that wherever is found, it must, be brought to Nigeria. But as our father, Professor Banji Akintoye, have said, there's no reason for him to be taken to Nigeria in the first place, because this was somebody that was running away for his life. But the question is, if the federal government will respond to what has happened. Even the federal government has not put any charges, against him ever since he's been there for 7 months. All they've continued to say, which we've been listening, in terms of, the intelligence gathering, is they just want to keep him there till 2023. Because as far as the government is concerned, and some of the politicians back home, is that the longer Igboho is in Benin Republic, is out of their problem. But one thing is, Igboho was never a problem to any politicians. It was only demanding the insecurity that has engulfed the Yoruba land, that the Fulani terrorists have been using as a carnage to the lives of millions of people. That was his only reason that they were chasing him all over the place. But we'll probably be able to monitor and see maybe there will be any response from the federal government. But what I can say is, the federal government, about say a week ago, I don't know whether we were able to cover that. I've already challenged the 20 billion suit that has been asked to be given to Igboho at the court in Ibadan. That we can confirm. But the latest news as of yesterday, there hasn't been any response yet from the federal government of Nigeria.
Well, listeners, a bit of update from Nigeria and Benin, Republic of Benin, for the release of Sunday Igboho. Yes, continue to keep your messages coming through. I promise you that I'm going to definitely read that. Amayo says the course for self-determination of Yoruba nation has just begun. What about you? Do you think that it's now putting a new fire into that fight for self-determination? Or you think that it's something that, hey, if we dare make any noise, they are going to come after us, and therefore let's leave the country, let's leave it for them. What do you think? I would want to know your take on any of the issues that we are discussing at the moment. I have Mr. Olayomi in our North London studios. I'm Archie in the main studios here in Croydon. Now, let's move on quickly to the reaction of the fire that it puts in the wings of the IPOP group as well, because like you said, they said they've come to congratulate the Yoruba people with the release. But the question is, what is the reaction? Does it give them a bit of hope that some way, somehow, they might release Nnamdi Kanu as well?
Well, Simon Ekpa said on Twitter, I have just spoken to my brother and friend Chief Sunday Igboho a few minutes ago on the phone. This was yesterday. I can confirm he is a free person. I must thank the president of Benin for his role in freeing Chief Sunday Igboho. The next is our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Congratulations to all my Oduduwa freedom. Let's now look at some of the reaction underneath that. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is next, according to this Twitter handle at JB Ladipo. So, all hail Biafrans, all hail Oduduwa is coming from Jacob Steven at Jacob T8623582. It said, according to at Afabel, congratulations. So the question is, yes, these, might also kind of give hope that something will happen, something will change with the case of Nnamdi Kanu at the Federal High Court. According to, again, free at last Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the Biafra Republic will soon be free. So there is this momentum that, remember that Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped and rendition just around June, or thereabout, and was brought back to Nigeria from Kenya. It was not that long. Igboho's house was attacked on the 1st of July, and in just under a month after that, Igboho was also kidnapped. So there was these, kind of, feelings among these two, self-determination groups that are determined their way out of Nigeria in a peaceful means, that the most important people among them has been kept in prison, and that was creating a lot of what we can call, a remorse. But I'm sure with the release of Igboho yesterday, it will keep a momentum back, not just to the Yoruba people that still believe in the struggle, because the struggle continue according to the Ilana Modua and all the Yorubas, but it will also give hope to the millions of the Biafrans all over the world that believe that the IPOB are fighting the right cause, just as the Yorubas are doing as well.
Okay, listen to Starr Radio UK. Fakorede Moses says, I celebrate with all Yoruba sons and daughters all over the world for the release of Sunday Adeyemu Igboho. Okay, and let's say congratulations and happy birthday to the Vice President as well. It's all Starr Radio UK, his 65th birthday. Okay, but now we're going to come back to some of the other stories making the rounds. Now, a question that I'm posing again to our listeners, those of you who are watching us from every part of the world. Do you think that with the release of Sunday Igboho, it now brings onto the table the cause for the referendum? Should there be a referendum? Let people determine whether, look, we want to be there. Look, we are fed up with what is going on. Look, we want to go. And then you say, okay, fine. If you want to go, you voted for it, and you've said that you want to go, get out of it. Or, what do you think? We want to know your take on that. But now let's come back to what is happening, or what was happening yesterday in Nigeria. And the first and foremost was the police presence, the cordoning of the APC headquarters. Now, apparently, all the governors had actually shunned the company of the chairman, or the acting chairman, whatever he is. Can you tell us more about that story as well, and the latest development?
Well, it seems, there's preliminary leadership crisis right now rocking the All Progressive Congress for several months. Took a different dimension yesterday when we came live. We did talk about what we can call a security operation at the Secretariat of the All Progressive Congress. Buhari left Nigeria on Sunday, but he must have put in some kind of different conversation or structure regarding the chairman or the caretaker of the APC. But what we can now confirm today is on Monday yesterday in Abuja, most of the governors were said to have abandoned the chairman of the caretaker and the extraordinary convention planning committee, Governor Mala Buni, who had been steering the affairs of the APC since June 2020. And I think you did ask that question yesterday. So that means he has been steering these, the rock on the boat of the APC. In an unprecedented move, the governor of Niger State, Abubakar Bello, who is the member of the caretaker committee, arrived at the APC National Secretariat just about 12 p.m. noon yesterday to assume the position of the acting chairman of the caretaker committee. However, there was confusion on the status of Buni in the party on Monday, as Yaya Bello told journalists that he was not aware of his position, that is Buni. But an aide to the Yobe State governor at the APC Secretariat, Yusuf Ali, in an interview on the telephone, said Buni remained the party chairman, adding that the governors were in support of him. So that means there's a crisis at the moment, because if Buni is still claiming that he is the party chairman, and also we also have somebody else saying he is now in charge, could that be that there's crisis that will probably be resolved, or a crisis that continue to engulf before the president return back in another 2 weeks, because it's still a countdown that is just only arrived on Sunday, 2 days ago. The Niger State governor arrived and amid heightened security present comprises about 70 security personnel with no less than 15. These are the the kind of security that they give around these people, while millions of Nigerians are suffering from the lack of insecurity that has engulfed almost every part. But when asked in what capacity he was taking action, he responded, acting chairman of the APC and likewise the governor of Niger State. I am the acting chairman and the caretaker. But it doesn't seem that is wild, because Buni is still saying, I remain the caretaker and also the extraordinary convention planning committee. So we now have two governors putting head together. One says, I am still the caretaker, while one of them say, I am now the new chairman. I did told you in February, there's no doubt about it, APC will be splitting into maybe not 3 or 4 different political parties before 2023. That's even if 2023 will ever come in place, especially with the pressure cooker that is happening in Nigeria as we speak right now.
The pressure cooker, of course. Now, interestingly, okay, let me acknowledge one message more. APC and PDP are political platforms to act drama rather than politics. A nation where injustice becomes the order of the day, such nation can never progress. That is coming from Amayo. Now, we know the formation of the APC. So it wasn't one party. I mean, they came together to be able to outwit the PDP. That's what happened, and they put Buhari as the leader. Now, do you think, as you've been saying, that look, there's fragmentation in the front, and therefore it's just a matter of time, and then the whole thing will just fall or just break down. Now, the vice president, which part of the group is he in? Is he for the acting chairman, or is it for which part of the group does he find himself in?
Well, I don't have a clarity of which side the vice president stands, but what I know is, there's a lot of confusion in that party at the moment, regardless of which side the party, of which side the vice president is siding on. But one thing we know is, Buhari, seems to be siding with one, whereas the others doesn't seem to be happy. So as much as, this crisis is brewing, could it be that, this crisis will fall apart before Buhari arrived? Or also, like the intelligence that came through yesterday says we might be getting a coup, maybe just before Buhari arrived back in Nigeria.
Well, we pray that there's no coup. We pray that we don't want that one, though. We don't want coup. I mean, if people are protesting, let them go out to protest. We want the revolution of the people. The people rising up to say we can't take anything no more. No, I mean, good is what we want. Nothing else, nothing less. Okay. But it is Starr Radio UK. Let's go back to Yomi for some of the other stories making the rounds in Nigeria. Over to you, Yomi.
Once again, this is Starr Radio UK, 11:22 a.m., the 8th of March, 2022. There's a sad story that has reached into Lagos State, and I'll go into the bit of the background to it. There was a young lady that boarded what we could call a London transport, but equivalent to the BRT as is known, which is what the governor of the Lagos State has put out as one of their most important, transport system, is known as the BRT. But something went wrong. This young girl was in that particular bus. She was communicating with another friend of her, but not to raise an alarm. Maybe if she has asked her to raise that alarm a little bit, maybe she could have been alive. She went missing. But because she was able to quickly give details of the vehicle she was in, which is again the Lagos State Public Transport, to a friend, the mother eventually visited, the depot to pick up the vehicle number, which was confirmed, but we couldn't find out where she was. But we can now confirm that we found out where she is because the missing lady cops recovered and the BRT driver has been arrested. Lawyer tackle Lagos State. That is the headline. So let me now go into a little bit of the story again. A Lagos State bus rapid transit driver, Andrew Neese, alleged to be involved in the adoption of a 21-year-old tailor, Oluwabamisi Anyowole, has been arrested. The police also said the remains of the victim has been recovered. According to Olubamisi, who closed work around 7 p.m. on February 26, was on her way to visit her brother, Pelumi, when she boarded this Lagos Public Rapid Transit vehicle around Chevron bus stop in Lekki area of the state. The busman, Ominikoron, was said to be conveying the victim to a destination in Oshodi when Olubamisi observed that he refused to pick other passengers on the road. She reported contact one of her colleagues at work, Felicia Omolara, to inform her about a suspicion, and she was advised to disembark from the bus. Omolara, however, noted that when her friend no longer responded to her chat on WhatsApp, she called her phone number, adding that when she picked the call, a man was arguing with Olubamisi. Olubamisi former boss, Caroline Oni, confirmed also that her corpse was recovered in that Ebutero of Lagos. This is something that we should be very, very concerned about. I know that the Lagos State Governor have responded swiftly yesterday that they will look into this. The question remains is, how could someone board a public transport in Lagos State and she end up becoming a missing person only for us to now confirm she's dead? That is something that has been very scary, and there's a lot of reaction that is coming up, on Twitter, which we'll be discussing when we go to Twitter. Let's go to some of the other headline as well. Heavy security as Osun PDP elect governor candidate. Also, you were talking about the woman right. Before I came on board. Again, woman can no longer be deprived, says Buhari. That is coming also as, again, angry women stormed the National Assembly over a rejected bill. Women in their numbers have again stormed the National Assembly following the rejection of women-related bills. The women under the ages of Nigerian women groups had last week protested against the action of the lawmakers. They had promised to return if the decision was not reversed. They made good their promises as they returned in large numbers this morning, promising to continue protest until the lawmakers bow to their demand. But it seems Buhari is saying something different. As you know that woman can no longer be deprived, says Buhari. According to the headline, the President Muhammadu Buhari on Tuesday extolled Nigerian women on occasion on the International Women's Day today. Buhari observed that women are not where they should be, yet in different phase of endeavor, but believe that they could no longer be deprived for too long, as they constantly prove that they could hold their own. We would have loved to see that as the tenure of this government is winding down, Lil Shiraibu would have been found. But as we speak today, she has already given birth in the captivity of the terrorists in the country, and she's still not yet brought back to her loved one. So we hope, as we are celebrating Women's Day, we will remember Lil Shiraibu and millions of women, just as the young 21-year-old Taylor that was killed on the Lagos public transport.
Interestingly, those are some sad stories there. I mean, the treatment of women, where women who are angry are saying that, well, they are demonstrating, going to what is it, a Parliament House, or where the representatives meet to protest, and saying that relating to bills that relate to women that have been shelved or has not been passed. Now, the question why I just came on was that how many women are in Buhari's
ministers.
Well, yeah, how many of them?
They are not even up to 50%. So that means it's a very, very small fraction of women that he has put on board since he came in 2015.
Now, when it comes to the Congress, how many women do we have there as well?
Again, the fraction is very, very low, not even up to 50% or 50-50. We probably say maybe just a little bit, because women are not given that same opportunity, as you can tell, not just in the federal, but that also happened in the state level as well.
Wow. Well, I hope that those of you listening in will also add our voices to that, because there is one educator, educationist who back in the day in Ghana, that is Dr. Kwejiri Agri, who says that when you educate a man, you educate an individual, but when you educate a woman, you educate a whole nation. Why? Because this woman, with education or opportunity that they have, they are able to teach their children who are going to grow up tomorrow to become whoever, leaders or whatever. So it is very, very important. We need to give our support to the women. Well, Amaya says that 6% of women in Buhari's government or ministers. Earlier on said Nigeria is a lawless nation, raising Yoruba nation, Biafra nation, and other nations agitating to be out of their dungeon called Nigeria. Oh my goodness, he's come out with all.
Yeah, I think the reason why people spell it in that format is because of the agony of Facebook that could easily penalize you. If you're saying anything against Nigeria, in terms of spelling it as N-I. So a lot of people have now been able to turn things around and spell it as Nigeria rather than Nigeria. And also from here, Olatunji Aofeso says President Buhari will not care less with the APC is going through difficulties. President Buhari is a lame duck president. President Buhari is only interested in the Fulani being in the power. Also, coming there from Emmanuel Obiyo, Ifinichuku Paul Umba, victory for the Oduduwa Republic, victory for the Oduduwa sons and daughters home and abroad, especially the ones abroad that have the ones abroad. Now they can now come home with the map of their own country drawn, submitted to the United Nations and AU, can now come back home and develop their own nation they proudly call their own. Now they have their own Nelson Mandela released as the new president of Oduduwa Republic. I, Chief Sunday Igboho, is free, as a lot of people are still congratulating the release of Chief Sunday Igboho.
Okay, listen to Starr Radio UK 11:31. Let's go to Yomi for the rest of the stories making the rounds. Over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. We go straight, to the business section of the news this morning, as federal government insists Nigeria has enough petrol in stock, says supply disruption and accident. I mean, again, you wonder why a country that has, a big amount of crude oil, but could not have what it takes to refine it, and that means we have to take it to other countries to help us to refine what we have in terms of the natural resources, the crude itself. And I was watching a video that was posted from Libya. Libya doesn't have a stable government since Gaddafi, was taken out of power, almost 10 years ago. But a 15-liter petrol in Libya today costs 200 naira. That is not the same, because a 1-liter petrol in Nigeria, as of this morning, is going to about 300 naira per liter.
Wow.
So when you multiply 300 by 15, you then ask the question, a country like Libya that does it, and this person did a video, to prove it, by going to the petrol station in Libya, bought the petrol for 200 naira for 15 liters, and eventually even throw it away because he said it was of no use for him. He just wanted to prove to millions of Nigerians that we are in big trouble.
Wow. Listeners, just bear with us. Go on.
So the federal government has maintained that it has enough petrol in the depot to serve the growing demand amid the growing queue across the nation. So that is coming from there. I'm going to take one more from the business, go straight into the social media, and then we come back to you in the studio. As we say, the Russia-Ukraine conflict is not just having big impact in the world. We know that there's a lot of sanction on Russia. We know there's a lot of pressure. And I heard you saying that Coca-Cola and McDonald's has not made any step to see whether they will be coming out of Russia. But what we can say is the wheat importation to Nigeria is now going to have a big impact. The invasion of Ukraine by Russia could affect Nigeria importation of wheat, a major ingredient used for the production of wide range of food, including bread, noodles, pasta, cakes, and many more, according to Gilbert. Since the inclusion of Russia military in Ukraine, the price of wheat has surged globally, exacerbating already high food prices across the globe. Russia and Ukraine put together are responsible for 14% of the global wheat production and control about 29% of the wheat export. This then goes back to, can Nigeria also grow wheat? It is possible, but you can't do so when we have those moving around as as pretending to be herdsmen of criminal terrorists that have maroba all over the country, and not just in southwest, southeast, but in the northern part of the country as well, is making it very difficult, for people, to come back into farming. So that means we have to manage and bring in more of these, from Russia. But what we can say is the impact of this fight is going to have impact already in a country that remains the capital poverty of the world. So again, I go straight to the social media so that we can wrap it up quickly. It's 11:34 a.m. It is Starr Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. There is 4 things that is trending. The International Women's Day is trending, as we know. Break the Bias is also trending. Number 3 is also International Women's Day, and these are what is trending in Nigeria. But number 4 is now coming on hashtag Justice for Bamisa. And we do know that, like I said, it traveled on the Lagos transport system, but he never made it through on that journey. He was eventually killed. And that is exactly why there's justice for Bamisa. According to the International Council for Yoruba Rights, God forbid that the abomination whereby a Yoruba is constrained to speak Fulani or Hausa before being deployed to key posts in military, custom, and police, or was before obtaining scholarship to study abroad. Does that mean Yorubas are working with head? No, and never. Yoruba nation now. And we do know that with a lot of people that wants to go into the military in Nigeria, you must know somebody, especially from the northern part of the country, that have more influence for you to enable you to get gain into that as well. Also, we saw Showore yesterday was arrested. He was released. It also seems that Showore will continue to be one person that we continue to again seek for his his freedom since he's been in Abuja. But we saw that he was arrested, but I can confirm that he has been released again. So let me quickly get back again to some of the other social media before coming back again to you in the studio. The magnitude of the congratulation messages coming from all over the world, and even in the southwest of Nigeria, makes it look like definitely the importance of Igboho was very, very vital and key. And like I said, according to Ifa Funsho, if it is true that Benin Republic has released Igboho, Nigerian government must also release Nnamdi Kanu to balance the equation. These two people are the only ones speaking the language I want to be hearing. Self-determination is our human right. Nigeria must break. I come back now to you in the studio.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing us updates from Nigeria, and it's been quite an interesting discuss this morning, and I hope that you are enjoying it, or you've enjoyed it as well. Don't you go away at all. But Amaya has posted another comment there. So Nigeria is a business empire for politicians. For the politicians. Well, do you agree with him or not? Well, let me ask you these questions as well, as many of you who are listening to us. Now, with the release of Chief Sunday Igboho, do you think that all that the federal government has to do now is to give you a referendum, to give Nigerians a referendum? I mean, do you think that will satisfy everybody in the country? We want to know about that. Would that satisfy everyone in the country? And then, because I think that if something of the sort is given, that opportunity is given, and after that we decide that we go to the polls and we find out that, well, we want to leave, then fine. Or we don't want to, majority say we don't want to leave, then fine. Then we cannot say, okay, let's rest our cases, and then let's see what is going to happen the next few years. But whatever it is, do you think that would serve you? That would satisfy you? Do you think referendum is the way forward for us now with whatever is happening in the country at the moment? Amayo says Showore is a force that give headache to the power that be a Nigeria, and it's a referendum on the way. Well, he is our supporting the referendum. So what do you think? I want to know what you think there. Put your comments there. But Yomi, a quick one. What did Showore do for him to be arrested?
Well, there's a particular case in terms of a reporting that he did, I believe, on their media, that has led to this particular person, Ned Nwoko, that is pushing a case against him, and that is the reason why he was arrested again yesterday. But like I said, he was released. But I saw him going back to the local court again this morning. But I don't have the full details of what is happening. But yes, it was a report between himself and Sarah reporter and this particular individual that lives as well in Abuja.
Okay, listeners, it's been a pleasure once again. Yomi, let me say thank you very much for the wonderful updates.
Thank you once again, and again thank you to those of you that have listened to us this morning on Starr Radio UK. Good morning to you, Wumi. Praise, good morning to each and every one of you, Yogi, and the rest of the people that are listening to us, especially spending a lot of data from Nigeria. Would like to appreciate you. I'll be back again same time tomorrow, but for now I say have a very good morning. Stay tuned for the rest of the program. Bye from this end.
Bye, Yomi. Thank you very much. Well, listeners, you are still tuning to Starr Radio UK. The program goes on, and let me announce this afternoon exactly at 1:30. BB Clement is going to come your way with BB Means Business, and today she's going to be looking at how to build great teams. How to build great teams. I mean, you look at what went on with Sunday. Well, it's a great team that is around him that has moved, because he was incarcerated. He could have been kept there. But when you have great teams around you, you are able to move. And that is why most people call for unity, because in unity there is strength. Okay? But what do you think? Or do you think that you got everything that it takes? Well, BB Clement will be coming your way with BB Business this afternoon, exactly at 1:30. Well, we're going to take a break, a musical break, of course. And once we come back, we're going to continue with other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. But feel free and continue to send your posts to me. I promise you, I'm gonna read it. So wherever you are, stay tuned. Don't you go away. Sonny Okusun will sum it up nicely for me by saying, which way? So, which way? Referendum or so government hiding or putting their heads behaving like the ostrich, thinking that, well, nothing is happening, but there are things happening. What do you think? Let us hear from you. Good morning.
To go. I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to.
This is Starr Radio UK.
In your car,
At work.
at home,
On your smartphone.
Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Many years after independence, we still find it hard to start. How long shall we be patient before we reach the promised land? Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Tell me which way to go. I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Every little thing that goes wrong, we start to blame the government. We know everything that goes wrong because we are part of the government. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Inefficiency and indiscipline is ruining the country now. Corruption here, there and everywhere. Inflation is soaring high. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh sure, sure. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. We made mistakes during the oil boom, not knowing that was our doom. Some people now have everything, while many, many have nothing. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't fall. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Which way to go? Which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know. Yes, I want to know which way Nigeria is heading to. Green revolution is a reality. Let's give it
in your car,
At work.
at home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio
so we can
UK.
have enough food to show. Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. The show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
There is nothing too hard for him.
Join Prophet Ajimai Prempe for this year's double portion London Summit at the London Marriott Hotel, Maidavale, London, NW6 5RP from Friday 11th March through to Sunday 13th. Details are as follows. Friday 11th March 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday 12th of March 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Sunday 13th of March 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Come and experience the prophetic like never before and hear the word of the Lord for your life. Please call 077-60-276-394 or visit www.prophetprempe.org for more details.
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe.
Welcome back to the program. It is gone exactly 12 minutes to the top of the hour. It is Starr Radio UK. It is the Tuesday edition of the morning show. I am Archie. And from here on, we're going to be looking at some of the other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. But continue to keep your comments coming through. I promise you, I'm going to be reading them out as well. Okay? Yes, the lines will be open in the next 12 minutes as well. And then you can join in the conversation. Whatever your take is, if it's issues that we discussed already pertaining to Nigeria or whatever, or what is going on currently, I will want to know what you think about it, so you can continue to post your comments there as well. I promise you, we're going to be reading that out. Let me check on the YouTube to see whether we've got any of the any comments on that as well, so we can touch on it. Yes, let me see. Well, let me see whether any of you have posted any comments on the YouTube channel as well. Okay. Oh yes, Olayomi Kanko says, good morning Starr Radio UK, to Archie, Frank and Olayomi. Olayomi continues, congratulations to Starr Radio UK and the crew on the release of Chief Sunday Adeyemu aka Igboho Sha. Okay, Olayomi, thank you very, very much for also commenting on that one as well. As I said, if you pass your comments anywhere, I promise you I'm going to be reading them out as well. Okay, so thank you very much. Continue to keep your comments coming through, and when the lines are open, you can also call in the next 11 minutes. That's Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Breaking news coming through this morning: Shell is to shut all petrol stations in Russia and to stop buying its oil and gas as it apologizes for buying shipment after Ukraine invasion. Well, so the sanctions seem to be going on, but what do you think about all that? And then ex-Common Speaker John Bercow should never be allowed a parliamentary pass, says panel after investigation found he was a serial bully. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to bring you more on that. The ex-Common Speaker John Bercow, I mean, he was like even the Prime Minister couldn't stand him. He was strong. Well, celebrating the International Women's Day, and once again, let me say congratulations to all our women folks
all our women folks. I say congratulations to you all. We hope. No, even just saying congratulations doesn't go far enough. We hope that the systems and things put in place will help you rise to the levels that you have to. I mean, being whatever you are, rising to the top because of merit. Not that a man beats because it's a man, no. But the man, if you and a man, if a woman and a man stands or look, what do you call it, vie for a particular position, the man gets it because of merit. Or the woman gets it because of merit, not because, oh, he's a man, so let's take it and then forget about the women. No. So, well, it's my wish and my desire that the systems are put in place, are tweaked so that it will give everybody equal opportunities. It is Starr Radio UK. Now, let me bring you the breaking news that I did touch on first. Interestingly, John Becker was a serial bully while House of Commons Speaker and should not be given a parliamentary pass, a report have said. The independent expert panel said his behavior fell very far below that which the public has a right to expect from an MP. It also said he had displayed undermining behavior towards staff. Now, however, Mr. Becker said the inquiry into the complaints was amateurish and based on tittle-tattle. Now, Mr. Becker was Speaker of the House of Commons from 2009 to 2019 and presided over a turbulent period during which the House of Commons debated the UK's exit from the European Union. And let me say good afternoon to Tosino. Hey, how are you doing? In Russia, it's afternoon now. Our envoy in Moscow. Good afternoon to you. I hope you are doing very well, sir. And you heard the good news as well about Chief Sunday Igboho. Okay. Now, Mr. Becker, the story says, a report into his behavior by the independent expert panel upheld the findings of the Parliamentary Commissioner for Standards. The panel said it agreed with the Commissioner's finding that Mr. Becker had been a serial bully. It added that Mr. Becker's conduct was so serious that had he still been a member of Parliament, he would have determined that he should be expelled by resolution of the House. Wow, so nobody's been a bully as he has ever been. My goodness. Now, complaints about his conduct while in the position were made by Angus Sinclair, a former member of a House of Commons staff, Lord Lisbon, a former senior clerk, and Kate Ems, a current member of the Commons staff as well. He said claims of misconduct were upheld even when eyewitnesses testified that they had not taken place. He also argued he had been targeted by 3 disgruntled former staffers because he had set out to be a reforming figure prepared to set aside customs and practice in the pursuit of a more radical agenda intended to make the Commons more inclusive and diverse. He has some points there. So is it his stance to, I mean, think outside the box, okay, not practice the norm as everybody seems to be doing, and trying to, stamp his foot down to make sure that things are done properly. So you are a prime minister and you cannot just go blabbing. He was trying to, he did a lot. He did a lot during that time. I remember Theresa May's time and all that. He did a lot there. But well, what do you think about this investigation that has taken place? If you are somebody who had the intention of changing things, because maybe things don't take along the way they're supposed to, and you want to be a catalyst of change, I think people will criticize you. Do you think that will give him a break? That's one of the things that has happened. But somebody will say it's a panel, so there are diverse views of how people see what happened. But they are of the view that, well, if he happened to be an MP now, he should have been found, showed the door. Wow, and that's a tough one. That is a tough one. But 5 minutes to the top of the hour at a time. The Morning Show, the program. Tosino says, I am in a very good mood since yesterday. Yes, Tosino, I've been in a good mood as well. Thank you very much for joining in. I hope your day is going well. Okay, now to other stories making the rounds in the UK. Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, the under siege Ukraine. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky will address British MPs on Tuesday, today via video link. The Speaker of the House of Commons has announced. Sir Lindsay Hoyle said he was pleased to grant Mr. Zelensky's historic request with address taking place at 17 hours GMT. The speech will be shown on screens being installed in the chamber. Now, Boris Johnson will also host meetings with the leaders of Poland, Hungary, Slovakia, and the Czech Republic. The series of meetings will be discussed. Will be to discuss the UK support for security in Central Europe. Sir Lindsay said every parliamentarian wants to hear directly from the president, who will be speaking to us live from Ukraine. So this is an important opportunity for the House. Now, thanks again to our incredible staff for working at pace to make this historic address possible. Mr. Zelensky, a former comedian and actor, has been the figurehead of the Ukraine struggle since Russian President Vladimir Putin forces invaded the country last month. Last week, he received a standing ovation when he spoke via video link to the European Parliament. Is he going to get another standing ovation, especially saying that, hey, you guys, you're not doing your best for us? You're promising us heaven and the skies and everything, and we are not getting nothing, and we think that we are being besieged or we are being wiped out. Now, what more can the West do? Well, we want to know what you think about that. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, looking at some other stories making the rounds as well. The cost of living warning: UK faces biggest income squeeze in nearly 50 years. And this is one serious situation that is going on. Now, there's a tendency that interest rate is going to go up again, and that means that those who have got paying only interest on their mortgages are going to be seeing eye-watering increment there as well, and lots of things when it comes to your food, shopping, clothing, and name it. So it's hard times. But this morning I was asking the question. Once I was monitoring some of the stories across the globe, and I was just thinking and pondering and asking myself the question that it is time for us to pause with this environmental so-called things that we've been talking about. That we have to stop using fossil fuel and just now come to use all these new systems which were going to cost us so much already. And with this increment, whatever thing that is going on, the tightening, do you think it's about time we shelve that for the time being? Because after all, the world is under siege at the moment. What do you think? I want to have your take. Maybe we should go on. Someone will say, look at Australia. We have floods, serious floods there. But the question and the issue is, assuming the UK go all out and they tighten the noose around our necks to take us there, to a place where we have got we've reformed our energy sector. Do you think that will stop floods, hurricanes, and all those things that is happening? Because if we don't do it as everybody in the world as a whole doing it, working on that, I don't think that one particular area, the fact that we are doing it, will impact the whole world greatly or bring about any change. Well, some people are of the view that we've passed the point of no return. What do you think? Maybe you are an advocate. We have to be eating more veg. Stop eating meat, because they think that red meat will destroy the world and all stuff. Now I want to have your take on that. It's quite an interesting discussion. I was thinking about it. And I said, do we put a pause on that and then make sure that we survive first? If not. Well, but the story says, why in Ukraine will push up energy prices and see UK families squeezed even further, a think tank has warned. So if you are listening to us, that is what is coming. The Resolution Foundation forecasts that a typical household income will fall by about £1,000 this year once the effect of inflation is accounted for. That will be the biggest real terms fall in income since the mid-1970s. It's added.
A government spokesperson said it recognized the pressures households are facing. Now, many families were already expecting their monthly spend to go up when the energy price caps jumps in April. The national insurance contribution rises. Now, but in a new report, the Resolution Foundation said the Ukraine conflict will push up living costs even further as the prices of fuel and other goods surged. It expects inflation, which measures how the cost of living changes over time, to peak in April at 8.3%. That is much higher than the Bank of England forecast 7.25 back in February. Now, the crisis in Ukraine has increased both the scale of price rises but also the degree of uncertainty about their levels and durations. The foundation report said the UK's post-COVID economic recovery is well underway, but a deep living standards downturn is just getting going. It added, also warning that wages are not forecast to grow particularly fast either. So, its principal economist Adam Cortlet said soaring bills will hit low and middle-income families the hardest. He also suggested poorer households will face a living standards roller coaster because of the way that benefits payments are set months in advance. So those who are dependent on benefits, because it's been set months in advance, now that there are serious changes, you are not going to get any support or thing that will match whatever is going on at the moment. Before, maybe I don't know how many months, God, I've not been on that before. For example, most working age benefits and the state pension are due to rise by 3.1% in April, a time when the increase in the cost of living could be high as 8%. But high inflation in 2022 should lead to bigger payments next year. The think tank called on Chancellor Rishi Sunak to announce fresh support for struggling families at this spring statement. Torsten Bell, Chief Executive of the Resolution Foundation, said while the economic fallout from the war will feel trivial compared to the suffering experienced by millions of Ukrainians, of course, which I agree there, it will still have a significant impact in Britain. He suggested that surging gas and oil prices would worsen the cost of living crisis, causing a painful squeeze on family incomes. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. So the question that I was asking earlier on, do we think we put a pause on raising the national insurance contribution? Do you think it's a time for us to pause that? A time for us to pause we saying that now we want to be more environmental friendly and then going to be doing all this community, and then a pause on this expansion of the what do you call that? The U-less zone by the mayor of London, which is going to now inflict more pain on people. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Now, interestingly, you know one thing that has happened as well. It looks like with the surge or the battle or the war that is going on in Ukraine at the moment, it looks like COVID is gone. What do you think? It looks like COVID is gone. I know yesterday I did talk about in what do you call it, Scotland, where they say there's a rise in the infection rates. But it looks like look at the people of Ukraine. Look at the way they are mingling. It's just a handful of people in various places who have masks on, but everybody just moving around, just doing everything. It looks like COVID is over, and now we have a new menace: Russia that is pursuing Ukraine. Now, what do you think? Let's hear from you. It is Starr Radio UK. Let me announce the lines open, and then we go on for to further discussions as well. Now, if you want to join in the conversation, it is 0208 133 2257 or 5802 08 133 2257 or 58. If you happen to be living in US, Canada, the Caribbean area, or South America? Yes, you can use this number. It is 0017183032737. 0017183032737. You can also text or WhatsApp at 07539661744. 07539661744. Our Twitter handle is Starr Radio UK, and email address is what? info@starradiouk.com. Let me hear from you. It is Starr Radio UK. Let's take a quick break, and we come back and we continue with the stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. As I've announced, this afternoon exactly at 1:30, BB Clement will be coming your way with BB Means Business, and then she'll be looking at how to build great team, So make a date with her.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
We serve a miracle-working God. There is nothing too hard for him.
Join Prophet Ajimai Prempe for this year's double portion London Summit at the London Marriott Hotel, Maidavale, London, NW6 5RP from Friday 11th March through to Sunday 13th. Details are as follows: Friday 11th March 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. Saturday 12th of March 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Sunday 13th of March 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. Come and experience the prophetic like never before and hear the word of the Lord for your life. Please call 077-60-276-394 or visit www.prophetprempe.org for more details.
A miracle working God. He's a miracle working God.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. At 7 minutes past the top of the hour, the time. The lines are open. You can join in exactly at 1 o'clock. We'll bring the curtains down for the end of the program. I am Archie. Yes, and you are there joining me on the Tuesday edition of the morning show. Okay. Yes, so let's crack on. Now, Russia is to allow some evacuation, but Mariupol attacks has been reported as well. Some of the stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. A Russian general killed near Kharkiv, says Ukraine. That's one of the stories there. And war is unleashing hell on earth for food prices. That's what some are also saying. And Chernobyl workers ordeal under Russian guard. Well, we'll be bringing you more on that. Now, the first and foremost story, the UN has said that the number of refugees fleeing the war in Ukraine has passed 2 million. Now, people are fleeing the northeastern city of Sumy and Irpin near Kyiv after ceasefires were agreed to allow civilians to escape. However, Ukrainian officials say Russia is shelling an evacuation route from the besieged southern city of Mariupol. In the past few days, several evacuation plans have collapsed amid continued Russian attacks. UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace says Russian troops have not progressed as they hoped and are now getting more desperate. Now, Shell is also saying that it will immediately stop all spot purchases of Russian crude oil following criticism. The Russian Deputy Prime Minister has warned that Moscow could retaliate against European sanctions by cutting off natural gas to the bloc. Now, that is quite an interesting one. Now, earlier on, they threatened that, okay, if you dare get yourself involved in this battle, this war, or military exercise, as they were saying, we are going to make sure that we unleash our venom. That's the nuclear. But well, now that the West decide we don't want to do that, and now are using sanctions, they're saying that well, you there continue the way you're going, we're just going to turn the taps off. You won't have gas. But what do you think about all that? It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Tosino says Biden government is very useless government. Wow. Well, depending on where he's standing or coming from, because Tosino is in Moscow and he's looking at it from that perspective. Well, so that is what he's saying. Well, what is the suggestion? What do you think the Biden government can do for us to see better results from what is happening at the moment? Okay, as I said, the number includes a number of people. According to the latest UN figures, there have been 1,207 civilian casualties since the Russian invasion of Ukraine began on the 24th of February. You know why? I will always remember this because the 24th of February was my birthday, and therefore I will remember it. Anytime you ask me when that was, that I should be able to tell you. Okay, Tosino says the special military operations. You see, Tosino, that's what the boss man is saying. We don't have anything to say about that. Okay, now most injuries are as a result of airstrikes and explosive weapons, says the UN, with hundreds of residential buildings destroyed in the cities across Ukraine. One journalist is reported to have been killed as well. The story says that the UN has also expressed concerns about the arbitrary detention of pro-Ukrainian supporters in areas under Russian military control, as well as violence against those considered to be pro-Russian in Ukrainian government-controlled territories. Now, latest UN figures suggest 12,700 people have been arrested in Russia for holding peaceful anti-war protests. The organization criticized Russia's recently impose repressive laws that imposes jail sentence of up to 15 years on those charged with spreading so-called false information about invasion or discrediting the Russian armed forces. Well, it is Starr Radio UK, and temperatures in Ukraine set to plunge as well, of course, looking at the fact that some areas have not got electricity or any gas or anything at the moment. So there is no water. There's no, we have from frying pan to fire. In recent days, Ukraine has seen snowfall across part of the country, and as the chief correspondent saying, more is falling, and cities like Kiev will experience biting wind chill of -13 to -20 at times during the next few days. And it's a sad situation. It's a sad situation. I don't believe that people should be bullied. I don't believe that people should be mistreated. No. So the way that Russia felt insecure wasn't on. Okay? And again, the way that Russia has also gone to treat the people of Ukraine is not on. Because a number of people have been displaced. Look at, virtually the country has been flattened. Would there ever be any Ukraine? Maybe in another 100 years, if there's going to be anything of the sort. But well, Tosino says the West needs to correct themselves the way they handle things around the world. I can't agree with you more than that, boy. Now, because was it yesterday or this morning? I think was it yesterday? I was having a discussion with some other people, and they were of the view that, look, the way the West have treated countries. Look at the way they come to Africa. Look at the way they treat us. Look at the way they sign deals with us. You have all these oil companies signing deals with us, virtually giving us pittance. And then when there's a government that they don't like, they will find ways and means to maneuver to get the person out of it and bringing instability in our part of the world, and therefore they will now take advantage of our resources and everything that goes on there. Well, so that's what Tosino is saying. He said the West need to correct themselves the way they handle things around the world. Maybe this time around it will change. He said a lot of misinformation by the West to the world. Great. I think the other time when we were having a discuss on this issue, we had Frank saying that he had a visitor who is an Algerian but is living in Russia, who came and look and watched the telly with him, and while the news was going on, it was like, whoa, hold your horses. What are you people talking about? You think that's how Russians we behave in Russia, stuff like that? And they said, no. So since he lived in the UK for his visit to continue for some days, but never watched any news from the UK front because he saw that they were all false, or as Trump would say, fake news. Well, so that's what Tosino is saying. But the problem again is now that they're not allowing journalists to be able to, look at what is happening there. What is the way forward for us? How would we know exactly what is going on in Russia so that we can also know what is going on in Mr. Putin's head? Interesting. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, still in the world front. Well, as whether this is true or not, maybe Tosino should be able to tell us. A Russian general has been killed near Kharkiv, says defenders. A few of them have also been. A senior Russian military commander has been killed in a battle on the edge of the eastern Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. Ukraine's defense ministry have said Major General Vitaly Gerasimov, 41 of the 41st Army Chief, is the 41st Army Chief of Staff, died along with other Russian officers. The reporter said Russia has not commented, but if confirmed, he will be the second officer of this rank to be killed. Now, Ukraine has begun evacuating civilians from the town of Irpin near Kiev and the northern city of Sumy. Well, it is all coming your way. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Wow, food prices. Well, the story says the head of the World Food Program, David Beasley, has warned the conflict in Ukraine could send global food prices soaring with a catastrophic impact on the world's poorest. Now, Ukraine and Russia are both major exporters of basic foodstuffs, and the war has already hit crop production, driving up prices. Now, Mr. Beasley said it was putting more people at risk of starvation worldwide. Just when you think hell on earth can't get any worse, it does, he said. Now, he's looking at it. He says Russia and Ukraine, once dubbed the bread basket of Europe, export about a quarter of the world's wheat and half of its sunflower products like seeds and oil. Ukraine also sells a lot of corn globally. Now, analysts have warned that the war could impact the production of grains and even double global wheat prices. Mr. Beasley said that the number of people facing potential starvation worldwide had already risen from 80 million to 276 million in 4 years prior to Russia's invasion. Now, due to what he calls a perfect storm of conflict, climate change, and coronavirus, he said certain countries could be particularly affected by the current crisis due to the high proportion of grains they currently import from the Black Sea region. And I'm sure it's going to impact Africa greatly. But someone who said that Buhari took a good step when he said that he was stopping the importation of rice to Nigeria. But I think the issue is when it comes to the farmers who have to go to the farms to till the land to get this to grow this rice, have they been able to do that, especially because of insecurity? So people might not even have the chance to go to the farms to go and do so. So how do we support ourselves, especially when we are almost always depending on someone to say Lala Sumila begging for food? Well, Tosino says who gave NATO, EU and US the permit to invade Libya? Interesting one. Yes. And then he says, I'm not in support of Russia or Ukraine. All important to me is Yoruba. All that is important to me is Yoruba nation. Yes, I know, my brother. I know. But it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. Let your comments come through, and I promise you, I'm gonna read that. So the question is, how can African countries now, with the stability that we have at the moment, call it in quotes, prepare ourselves, at least grow food to feed ourselves? Back in the day, when we were little, we had the head of state of Ghana at the time, who was a champon, General IK Achampong, and then he had a concept of they have an Operation Feed Yourself. He said we grow what we eat, and we eat what we grow. Okay, so I mean, people had like your backyard. You grow something there. You can grow some tomatoes there, some peppers, and I remember my mom. We had a big compound there. So in the backyard we had a few things that we've grown there. Even there was a point that there was some place that is a bit waterlogged, and we grew sugar cane there. So you see, we didn't even need to go buy sugar cane. We had everything there on tap. Now I think it's about time that African leaders look into that, where we can actually push our people to go in the back. Again, Kofi will come in to say that we have not manufactured any machines of the sort. Well, when it comes to the farming, are we going to be using our hoes, and then a whole day you just have been able to have tilled just a small portion of land? Meanwhile, if we had used, machines, we would have grown, very wide, or a large portion of farm, or have a big plot of land that we might have grown lots of things there. So what do you think about all that? How do we brace ourselves? How do we position ourselves to take advantage of what is happening at the moment? Okay. Well, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 12:21 the time, the morning show. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only Archie. We'll be taking a break, but don't you worry. Let's continue to some other parts of the world. Well, the World Bank has approved $723 million funding for Ukraine. For what? The World Bank has approved $723 million in loans and grants for Ukraine as the country fights against a Russian invasion. The bank said it's continuing to work on others $3 billion package of support in the coming months for the country. It also promised extra help for neighboring countries that are taking in more than 1.7 million refugees, which are mostly women, children, and the elderly. The financial package of Ukraine includes $100 million pledge from the UK. The World Bank Group is taking quick action to support Ukraine and its people in the face of the violence and extreme disruption caused by the Russian invasion. The bank's president, David Malpass, said in a statement. The bank said the funds will help Ukraine's government provide critical services, including wages for hospital workers, pension for the elderly, and social programs for the vulnerable. But the question is, if you give pension for the elderly, where are they going to buy what from? Looking at even the temperatures that is going to be plummeting in the next few days. So, is money worth anything there? Well, maybe you want to build your house. Now, why are you going to be even getting the raw materials to build now when everything has been destroyed? So you get it? All right then. But continue to keep your comments coming through. Starr Radio UK. Well, let's now move to other parts of the world. Well, Shell is saying, okay, the final one from the Ukraine and Russia front, and then we can bring that bit to a close and then move on to other parts of the world. Now, Shell has pledged to stop buying oil from Russia as it apologizes for its purchase of cheap Russian crude at the weekend. The energy giant also said it could close all its service stations. It could in the country and stop all current work there. Now, Shell came under huge criticism at the weekend after it purchased a cargo of Russian crude at a discounted price. It both said on Tuesday, however, that it was wrong to buy Russian oil. We are acutely aware that our decision last week to purchase a cargo of Russian crude oil was not the right one, and we're sorry, Mr. Van Beurden said. The company said it will immediately stop purchasing Russian crude oil and will shut about 500 service stations there, as well as halting its its aviation fuel and lubricant operation in the country. The rest of the company's exit from Russia oil and gas is expected to take some time. The Ukrainian foreign minister had hit out at the firm on social media after it emerged Shell had bought crude. Well, it is all Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Well, let's take this music and then we will be looking at a transplant, well first, and a baby. That's an interesting one. Don't you go away. Stay tuned. Zogoman says, where is the dollar? They said they're giving the Ukraine lots of dollars. Where is it? What are they going to be using it for?
This is Starr Radio UK.
Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clemens, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, bringing the time now to exactly 12:30. The lines are open as I announced earlier on. Feel free, join in the discussion, put your comments on our Facebook page, and I promise you I'm going to read that. Exactly at 1 o'clock, the curtains are brought down for the end of the program. But this afternoon, as you heard, I will be having BB Clement on BB Means Business. And today she'll be discussing how to build great teams. Now, if you don't have a good team around you, you become one man kicking the ball all the time. Every time it's going to be you, and it makes work quite difficile, as a Frenchman would say, difficult. But if you have a good team, you build a great team around you, you'll be able to do so. Okay, you'll be able to go forward more faster than you are at the moment. So join BB Clement exactly at 1:30 for that discussion that she'll be bringing your way on BB Means Business. Okay, now let's move on to other parts of the world. Let's see what is happening there. As I said, the world's first heart thymus transplant success for Easton. That's the name, Easton. Okay, the story says U.S. doctors say a young boy called Easton has made medical history by becoming the first person in the world to receive a combined heart and thymus transplant. The pioneering procedure was done to save his life, but could also revolutionize the field of organ transplantation, they hope. The donated thymus tissues should help stop his body rejecting the new heart. Months on from the surgery, tests reveal Easton is progressing well. The thymus tissue is working, meaning his body is building critical immune cells which might ultimately reduce or even eliminate the need for him to take lifelong anti-rejection drugs. Interesting. It's only that you can see that he's got chubby cheeks. Now, one of his doctors, Joseph Turek, from the Duke University Hospital, said, "We are very excited about it. This concept of tolerance has always been the holy grail in transplantation, and we are now on the doorsteps." Interesting. Now, this has the potential to change the face of solid organ transplantation in the future. The thymus gland helps the development of the T cells, which fight foreign substances in the body. It teaches these immune cells that what is self and what isn't, and therefore what can be attacked. Now, giving Easton cultured thymus tissue from the same donor who gave him a heart should help his body adopt the new tissues, his doctors believe. Now, interesting thing there. Well, we hope that it gets on well. Now you see the latest picture of him, and he's doing well. We wish him all the best, and to the family as well, and to the doctors and the scientists who have done all this research to come out with this bold, revolutionary means of doing a transplant. Yeah, well done. In the world where there's so much confusion, some good is coming out from one way or the other. Okay. Now, Gretchen Whitmer trial due to begin in U.S. governor kidnapping plot.
The story says the trial of 4 men accused of a plot to kidnap Michigan Democratic governor is due to begin with jury selected today. Now, prosecutors say the men, some of whom are alleged militia members, targeted Gretchen over COVID rules she imposed early in the pandemic. Lawyers for the accused say that the government evidence is flimsy and proves nothing more than boastful talk. It's like what is happening in Ghana, where some people are saying that somebody said, well, this government had to stop doing this and they implement this e-levy and stuff. Like somebody said, yeah, I'm going to say to you that I conduct a coup d'etat in the country, and then the person has been nipped in the butt. Well, the trial in the city of Grand Rapids is expected to last about 6 weeks. Now, according to the FBI, which says it interrupted the plot 17 months ago, the men had planned to blow up a bridge near the governor's vacation home, then kidnap her and put her on a treason trial. Ultimately, 14 alleged plotters were arrested in late 2020. That is intel for you. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, moving on swiftly to other stories making the rounds in other parts of the world. Let's quickly touch on the Latin American area once again. Well, I was talking about what is happening when it comes to our environment, but Amazon is near environmental tipping point. A study is saying, so now that we are being pushed, tightened on all fronts, well, they are saying that this is what is happening as well. The world's largest, let me bring you that because quite an interesting one. The Amazon forest is moving towards a tipping point where trees may die off en masse, says researchers. A study suggests that the world's largest rainforest is losing its ability to bounce back from damage caused by drought, fires, and deforestation. Now, large swaths could become sparsely forested savanna, which is much less efficient than tropical forests at sucking carbon dioxide from the air. The giant forest traps carbon that would otherwise add to global warming, but previous studies have shown that the parts of the Amazon are now emitting more carbon dioxide than can be absorbed. Then the trees are losing health and could be approaching a tipping point. Basically, mass loss of trees, said Dr. Chris Bolton of the University of Exeter. The findings, based on 3 decades of satellite data, shows alarming trends in the health of the Amazon rainforest. There are signs of a loss of resilience in more than 75% of the forest, with trees taking longer to recover from the effects of drought, largely driven by climate change, as well as human impacts such as deforestation and fires. So, do we put on pause all these environmental reform things that we're doing, cutting down on fossil fuel, cutting down on trees, mining and all those bits that we've been talking about and everything? Do you think that it's about time that we just put a pause on it? So we use environmentally friendly energy and all that. Do we have the means to support ourselves? Maybe government say, let's roll it out. It's going to be business for some people. But the question is, will the ordinary person be able to survive this? Well, let's hear from you. Well, when it comes to the climate change, it's not only there, but it's going on. As a result of climate change, well, Australia, a city, one of the cities in Australia, Sydney, is flooded. 2 killed, 1,000 forced to evacuate. Now, tens of thousands of Sydney residents have been told to evacuate their homes as floods ravage eastern Australia. In the past fortnight, New South Wales is also been facing that as well. Okay. Well, it says that the threat has now intensified in Sydney, which has been hit by widespread flash flooding. Now, 2 bodies believed to be of a woman 67 and her son 34 were found in the Sydney Canal on Tuesday. Now, police said their deaths would be investigated, but noted the canal had risen from ankle deep to above
neck height in a matter of minutes. Now, NSW Premier Dominic Perrottet said 40,000 residents in the state had been ordered to evacuate, and another 20,000 people were on standby. He added that a dam in the suburb of Manly had begun to spill, and a flooded river was threatening lives in the city's southwest. Now, there was also a substantial catastrophe in the state's north, where more than 800 people have been placed in temporary accommodation. But my question is, if one nation is trying to do this, like the UK, where we've got these people who are championing it, pushing everybody, putting the noose around our necks, and pulling us and pulling everybody, let's go there, and other parts of the world are not doing it, what impact would you think that will bring? What impact? We have China, who is still doing coal mining. They are going on with that. Well, they are trying to do refined energies. They're trying to do all that, but they are still going on creating new coal mines. And for some information that I had the other time. So, in the UK, we will be pushed, we'll be pulled, and all those people think, yeah, you have to do that. Yeah, if you drive to this place, and all those things, and the difficulty, the financial difficulty that people are facing now. Do you think it's about time? Let's put a halt. Once things calm down, then we can come back to it. But somebody say we'll put things on a halt, on a pause, and other places are flooded. But do you think that one nation just taking that action can help the whole world? Do you think so? Or somebody have to lead by example? What do you think? Well, it's all coming your way from Starr Radio UK. 19 minutes to the top of the hour at a time. The morning show, the program, of course. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only Archie. Okay, now let's move on to the African front. Let's look at some of the stories making the rounds there. In Uganda, Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba is considered a likely successor to his father. Now, trapped. Okay. I'll bring you details of that story. Now, he happens to be the president's son. Okay, so are you getting what I'm talking about here? Are you getting me? Is it now stepping down so that it will not be like a military person who want to vie for another election? For election, where people will say that, oh no, we're not going to be voting for you because you're a military man. Now, the son of Uganda President Yoweri Museveni, Lieutenant General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, has announced his retirement from the army after 28 years of service in more glorious military, the greatest military in the world. I am happy to announce my retirement, he posted on Twitter. Now, after training at Sandhurst, an elite British military academy, as well as in the Egypt and US and South Africa, he rose swiftly through the ranks of the Ugandan army. The 47-year-old has been rumored to be a possible successor to his 77-year-old father, who has been in power since 1986. So should he throw his heart into the ring to say, yes, I want to be, I want to vie for the leadership of my dad's party, and also for the leadership of the country? Should he be allowed to do so? Have they turned into our royal family? Is it a monarchy? Well, Africa. And I mean, this new world order that is going on. I mean, if you have the might, you take it by force. I think it lines up with what they're saying in the Bible, you know. Since the time of John the Baptist, the world is suffering violence, or the kingdom of heaven is suffering violence. That's what they said there. And the violent take it by force. So maybe they want to take it by force. Well, whoever is strong. Yeah, we don't have a world where the feeble or the weak are challenged or helped. Well, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 7 children playing at a road construction storage site have died after a dynamite explosion in northern Ethiopia. Now, construction firms set up comes to store their equipment, which is where the children were hanging out unaware of the danger. Now, police are warning the community in the West Amachiho area of Amhara region to keep their children away from the site. The construction company has not commented. Dynamite is commonly used to blast through rocks when building roads. Well, a sad one there, a sad one there, a sad one there. A Kenyan motorbike taxis told to re-register. What do they call it in Nigeria? Totino, you need to remind me. What do they call it? The motorbikes that do the like taxi. So okay. Now, Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta has ordered the authorities to re-register all motorcycle taxi operators following public outrage over an attack on a female driver in the capital. A video showed a woman from Zimbabwe being stripped of her clothing and screaming for help. The police say they have arrested the motorcycle riders who did it. A group of women held street protests in the capital, Nairobi, to condemn the incident and other cases of sexual and gender-based violence. Kenya Interior Minister Fred Matiang'i said he was shocked and disgusted by the incident. It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay, let's move on to Ghana and let's look at some of the stories making the rounds there as well. Now, you might think that when it happens that the citizenry are suffering due to, call it what how do I put it, maybe inflation and high cost of living, the government has to come in a way to cushion their lives for them. But it's the case where subsidizing fuel for industries who will produce and then come to the market. So if they are subsidized, somebody will say if they come to the market, their costs, the prices for their products or the produce will be lower than if they have to pay the full or buy or pay for the full fuel costs. But the former energy minister, the former minister for power, Dr. Kwabena Donko, has asked the government to stop subsidizing fuel for industries, claiming it is not economically wise. Why is he saying this? According to him, the government continues to offer subsidies on residual fuel oil used by industries to about 70% of their price. The PRU member of parliament stated that the complaints on high prices of petroleum products are from the general public and not industries alone, adding that the move is pointless. Now, Dr. Donko asked the Minister for Finance to immediately remove such subsidies, arguing that the government's inability to pay the subsidies has even resulted in a shortage of products. So the government promised, now the government cannot pay up, and it's causing that. As they spoke, he said the ex-pump price for RFOs is 1.63 Ghana cedis per liter. The ex-refinery, which is the production cost, is 4.25 per liter. This is a relic from the days when subsidies were the order of the day. So the Ghanaian state pays more than 70% of the price of residual fuel oil. This is used for the industry. And he's asking the question, why must the Ghanaian state subsidize industry to the extent that the subsidy itself has become a blockage to increase production of the RFOs? As we speak, some OMCs have not been paid for RFO supply, the subsidy components, for 6 months. It takes 3 months to 6 months to get this payment from the state, he added. Dr. Dongo called on the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, to relook at the development where Ghanaian taxes are used to subsidize fuel being consumed by industries. Now, my question is, are these industries only indigenous industries, or are there some of them that are for export trade? Or not that foreign companies or organizations there who are benefiting from that, and when they finish, they repatriate all their profit back into their homelands. And so you ask yourself the question, what are we subsidizing for? don't have your take on that. Do you think it's the right move? Well, we've got only 11 minutes to bring the program to a close. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Okay. Now this morning I had, was it early this morning or before then, I had some story coming through talking about the fact that Dr. Kwesi Boche, or is it professor or doctor now, a former minister for finance and economic planning, or secretary for finance and economic planning under the ex-war PNDC. PNDC, is it right? Yes, the PNDC has come out to say, to commend government, saying that, or debunk the fact that people are saying that, well, when it comes to our economy, I mean, it's not looking good. But he went on to say that now information coming through now is saying that, well, he said he had to say that because some people told him that, well, the ruling government are vindictive, and therefore if you say anything untoward or negative about them, then you're going to be having a serious backlash, and therefore he decided to say otherwise. But so let's look at that story there, and then we'll be bringing the program to a close in a moment. Now, former finance minister Kwesi Boche has expressed worry over what seems to be a growing intolerance against dissent in the country. The NDC stalwart says people in his circle have discouraged him from airing his views on any negativity that ensues in government under the Akufo-Addo administration. Mr. Boche was a keynote speaker at a public organized by the One Ghana movement at the University of Ghana. While speaking on the state of the economy, the former finance minister revealed that persons urged him to be guarded in his utterances or risk getting attacked. He recounted President Akufo-Addo's admonition during his 2017 speech for Ghanaians to be citizens, not spectators, and juxtaposed it against the situation on the ground now. Now he says these people are vindictive, and they'll come after you if you criticize them. They said, I was quite dismayed, and I wondered if this was truly reflective of the public sentiment in our time. He goes on further to say, or whether these friends had perhaps missed His Excellency the President's exhortation to us in his inaugural address in 2017 to be citizens, not spectators, which exhortation I was sure he meant in earnest, he said on Monday. The Independence Day event held at the City House of the University of Ghana Department of Economics was under the theme on the state of the nation's economy and politics 65 years after independence, the path to sustainable development and democratic consolidation. The former finance minister went on to paint a gloomy image of Ghana's economy, describing it as one that is suffering grave distress. And let me say good afternoon to Adi Adetunji. He says hi to me, and Adi, okay, let me say good afternoon to you and hope you are doing very well. Thank you very much. Professor Kwesi Boche wants the government to thoroughly review the economy to cut expenditures and avoid measures that will mortgage Ghana's future. He goes on to say, we are no longer seen as credit worthy. Our policies are no longer seen as credible in the face of investor community, he said in the gathering. He enumerated some of the challenges that he believes demonstrate the failures of the government currently. Now, according to him, the exchange rate at the Forex Bureau is nearing 8 Ghana to the dollar. Fuel prices at the filling stations have crossed the 8 Ghana per litre bar. Inflation is back in double digits, nearing about 15%. Well, so is it being a citizen or is it being a spectator? And if you are told the truth, why should government go or government supporters go against him. Well, it is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We're going to be bringing the program to a close, but that will be after one more story. Well, the president once again is out of town. President Akufo-Addo has left Ghana yesterday to lead Ghana's delegation to the Dubai Expo 2020. The expo aims to forge new partnership and inspire groundbreaking solutions across the key industries worldwide. It also seeks to raise awareness about the worldwide issues that mankind faces. The expo provides several possibilities for networking and the promotion of international connection. Individual pavilion will be set up at the Expo 2020 with countries exhibiting their unique cultures and technical innovations. Now, President Akufo-Addo will deliver a statement on Ghana Day, scheduled for the 8th of March, that's today, hold bilateral talks on matters of mutual interest with the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. He is also expected to participate in a business forum under the auspices of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center and hold meetings with other investors interested in doing business in Ghana. The president was accompanied by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Shirley Ayoko Bochwe, the Minister for Trade and Industry, Alan Chermantin, and officials of the Presidency and Foreign Ministry. Now, President Akufo-Addo is expected to return to Ghana on Thursday, the 10th of March. And in his absence, the Vice President, Alhaji Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia Shah, in accordance with Article 60, subsection 8 of the Constitution, act in his stead. Well, this is Starr Radio UK, and these are some of the events that have taken place today across the globe. Okay, a final one. My producers are saying I should touch on that. Lawyer and social commentator Kwame Jantwa has urged President Akufo-Addo to reshuffle some of his ministers. Do you think it's a wise move? Tomorrow morning, God willing, we'll be touching on that. Mr. Jantwa says some ministers of the president have not proven to be competent. He mentioned Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, Roads and Highways Minister Kwesi Amoako-Atta, the Minister of Health, and a few others as ministers who should be reshuffled. In a quote, he said, I do not understand why we have a government and there has not been one reshuffle. I do not understand it. Are we trying to say all the government appointees have done a good job? Is that what we are saying here? He asks. Mr. Jantwa further urged President Akufo-Addo to emulate his predecessor, the first president to come from the NPP, President John Ejekum Kufuor. What did he do? He did reshuffle, and he told some ministers, I ran the government, I'm moving you here. If you don't want, leave. And he continued to say, I think, if for nothing, the Minister of Roads and Highways should go. Minister of Health, I think the Finance Minister should be removed. If you do a poll on Ghanaians, they will say that he hasn't been able to handle the ministry that well, he said. Now, what do you think? This is why I bring the program to a close for today. But as I announced earlier on, make sure your dials are so loud on Starr Radio UK, because we're going to be having BB Clement joining us in the next few moments. That is the next 32 minutes with BB Means Business. On that note, let me say thank you for joining me to Tassino all the way in Moscow. Adi Adetundi, what do you call him? Amayo, and on all you wonderful people who joined us today on the broadcast, to Miss Olayomi Koiki and my able producers as well. I salute each and every one of you. Thank you very much, especially those of you who are watching us from the African continent, where it costs an arm and a leg to just listen to us. We salute you for all your great devotion to us. We say thank you, but don't you go away. That's why I bring the program to a close. It's been me, Archie. Have a lovely day, and bye-bye for now.
People killing, people dying, children hurt and hear them crying. Can you practice what you preach? Would you turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us. There's some guidance from living like they ain't got no mamas. Think the whole world's addicted to the drama, only attracted to things that'll bring you trauma. Overseas, yeah, we're trying to stop terrorism, but we still got terrorists here living in the USA, the big CIA, Bloods and the Crips and the KKK. If you only have love for your own race, then you only leave space to discriminate. To discriminate only generates hate. When you hate, then you're bound to get irate. Madness is what you demonstrate. That's exactly how anger works and operates. Man, you gotta have love, this'll set us straight. Take control of your mind and meditate. Let your soul gravitate to love. People killing, people dying, children hurt and hear them crying.